My sister smiled at her rehearsal dinner and said, "Tell everyone your Navy nickname," thinking she'd humiliate me in front of her new family. But when I said Riptide, the groom's 74-year-old uncle froze, put down his glass, and ordered her to apologize before anyone even understood why. "Tell everyone your Navy nickname." My sister's smile was vicious. The whole table was watching me. Brianna had planned this. I knew it. She knew it. And she was loving every second. "Come on," she said louder. "Don't make it weird." That was her trick. Push someone into a corner, then blame them for the corner. I looked at her standing there in her white dress, champagne glass raised, 30 people waiting for me to become her punchline. I said one word, Riptide. Brianna burst out laughing. Riptide? That sounds like a rejected superhero name. The table laughed with her. Of course they did. She was the bride. She owned the room. I sat still, hands folded, face calm. The Navy teaches you that. But Brianna didn't stop. What was the other option? Kept in spreadsheet? More laughter. My mother whispered, "Just let it pass." I turned to her slowly. "Why is that always my job?" She didn't answer, because there was no good answer. Then I heard it. A glass touching the table. Soft, deliberate. I looked across the room. An older man had stopped mid-sip. White hair, straight back, hands wrapped around his water glass like he'd just decided something. Frank Whitmore, Derek's uncle, 74 years old, former Navy corpsman. His face had gone completely still. Not confused, recognized. He pushed his chair back. The scrape of legs on the floor cut through the laughter like a blade. Every head turned. Frank stood slowly. He wasn't tall anymore. Age does that. But when he stood, the whole room adjusted around him. He looked directly at my sister. "Apologize," he said. Brianna blinked. "What? Apologize?" Now, his voice didn't rise. That was what made it terrifying. Brianna forced a laugh. "Uncle Frank, come on. It was just a joke." "No," Frank said. It wasn't. The room went silent. Not the comfortable silence before a toast. The silence of 30 people realizing they'd been laughing at the wrong thing. Brianna searched the table for a single face that would smile with her. No one did. Not Derek, not his parents, not even the cousins who'd been snickering 2 minutes ago. She was alone in the middle of her own joke. "I didn't mean anything by it," she said, quieter now. Frank's jaw tightened. That's what people say when they want the damage without the responsibility. Derek leaned toward Tessa, Brianna's maid of honor. "Did Brianna plan this before dinner?" Tessa went pale. "Tessa," Derek said quietly. "Please." Tessa looked at Brianna. Brianna's eyes said, "Don't you dare." Tessa looked back at her plate. Then she said it anyway. She said the Navy nickname bit would kill. The table went cold. Brianna's face cracked open. Derek stood up slowly. Not to shout, not to make a scene. Just enough to make everyone understand he was no longer inside Brianna's version of the evening. "I need a minute," he said. "You're walking out?" Brianna whispered, taking a minute. During our rehearsal dinner, he looked at her, not angry, just done, and said, "Because I don't want to say what I'm thinking in front of everyone." Then he turned to me. "Monica, I'm sorry." He followed Frank out. The door closed softly behind them. Brianna stood alone at the front of the room, dress perfect, glass still in her hand, but the room no longer belonged to her. She turned to me, and for the first time all night, her voice was small. "This is unbelievable." I picked up my water glass, took a slow sip, set it down. "You knew I said no," I said. "You kept going because the room was laughing with you." No one moved. "You laughed at the name," I said. "I remember the people attached to it." Brianna's mouth opened. Nothing came out. My phone buzzed at 11:42 p.m. that night. "You embarrassed me in front of Derek's family." Then a second message. "I hope you're happy." I set the phone face down. By morning, there was a knock at my hotel room door. Brianna, bridal robe, half-finished makeup. "I'm sorry if you felt mocked," she said. I looked at her. "That's not an apology. That's a press release." Her face hardened. "It is my wedding day." "I know," I said. "And if you want me standing beside you today, you'll apologize in front of Derek, Frank, and your mother, publicly, for what you actually did." Brianna went rigid. "Absolutely not. Then I won't be your bridesmaid." She stared at me like I'd pulled a pin from something she didn't know was a grenade. Then her phone buzzed. She looked down. The blood drained from her face. "It's Derek," she whispered. "What does he say?" She didn't answer right away. When she finally looked up, the smirk was gone. Every bit of it. "He wants to meet before the ceremony," she said quietly. "Just you?" She shook her head slowly. "He wants Frank there too." Full story on the channel linked below.